What are entities? What is a Talk to the Entities class all about? You know, these were the same questions I asked when I first found the tools of Access Consciousness. Entities can be so many different things. Like if you look at your business, it actually is an entity. Okay? It has its own consciousness and comes alive with you and the people that come to contribute to the business. But for our bodies to actually live, it also requires an individual, a being. Now, the earth is an entity. Animals have entities. So it's not just one answer. And it could also be our family members, our ancestors. So there's this broadness to the whole conversation of what is an entity and what are ways that I can engage. I can communicate, I can cooperate, I can actually receive from entities and more. And one thing we don't tend to recognize is that from being a young child, we actually have capacities with entities. You know, many people say, oh, I have an invisible friend, imaginary friend. But what if it wasn't imaginary? And at some point when we go to school or we tell our parents, there's some shifts that happen to changing the way that we actually acknowledge, have awareness of, and how we do or don't communicate. So Talk to the Entities really opens that conversation, you know, not from fear or what's wrong, but looking at capacities, abilities. And sometimes that awareness is actually showing up in different ways for different people. Like some people actually have entity awareness with a headache. For me personally, when it's time, when I perceive an entity, sometimes I sneeze. Sometimes it is a headache type of energy. Sometimes it's just my chest feels very heavy and I just know that I've got to ask questions. Now, sometimes it's the earth. The earth is trying to get my attention, but sometimes it could be an ancestor. Not always my ancestors, but ancestors. So the beginning class with Talk to the Entities really opens the door to the four things: clearing entities, communicating, cooperating, and receiving, which we call contribution. And the manual is very long and has so many different tools in it, but really to invite a different conversation and for us to stop being at the effect, but to start to actually gain more power to be able to use this capacity to our advantage. Now, then after the beginning, you could take another beginning, as many as you like, but also we have an intermediate class and then takes you to a different space, different conversations, and different ways to actually engage. And within that, then you have advanced classes with the founder, Shannon O'Hara. And if you'd like, you can also become a certified facilitator after that. But also within the Talk to the Entities universe, we also have specialty classes. And some are about the spirits of the earth. You know, whether it's the earth itself, or we're talking about a particular land, or we're talking about a particular city, like we do have spirits of the earth and nature spirits. So how can we utilize the tools in communication, in cooperation, in being willing to actually receive, to create something very different? For me personally, I've always had such a communion with the earth. And the minute that I started to utilize the tools of spirits of the earth and nature, I realized that I had less pain with my body, because the pain wasn't actually pain. It was the ways the earth was gifting me information and asking for help, asking for contributions. And so many things changed with my world the minute that I started to take these tools and expand it to other resources that I have. And then we also have the walk-in. The walk-in series is actually one that, you know, how do I explain it? Walk-in is, notice, are there moments when you are others don't have a lot of memory of a certain time in their lives. This is how it was for me personally. I noticed that was the moment that I actually was a walk-in. So a new being taking this beautiful body and going on a different adventure. And the tools of Talk to the Entities really helped me from moments of confusion or wrongness, because I couldn't remember certain things, or that, things were different for me and my likes and things were different, but also noticing that there's a gift in it. And utilizing the Talk to the Entities tools, being able to also be that resource for others. So many people are walk-ins, not everyone. And there are moments that they would like to have more resources and more clarity, more questions, more tools. So what contribution can we be with this program called Walk-ins to empower people to, not just for themselves, but as they engage with others who have walked in? It's a beautiful program, and I just ask, exploring, what do you know about the spirit world? And is now the moment to explore it and to actually allow it to be used towards your advantage.